Hello. Happy Monday. Happy end of Monday. Well, nearly end of Monday. Coffee. How's everybody doing? I hope you are all having a great day. That everything is going good for you. What size am I going to need? Let me figure that out in a minute. What am I doing today? Well, you know, it's in the title. Dragon stuff, still. Not that it's a bad thing, but I would like to get it done so I can move on to something else, and I will. For now, though, we're working on this guy. Remember him from last week? So I'm going to do a final thing on it to try to help bring him out into the forefront or foreground a little bit more. Because he kind of disappears into all the other stuff that's around him. So I'm thinking I'm going to just put a dark outline around his body. to try to make it a little bit more obvious. What dark? I don't know. I will still try to figure out some sort of color that will work. I don't think I want to do black, but I am thinking maybe something dark. Maybe I will go with my favorite and go indigo. We will see. So, that's first. Next, I'm going to take a look at this dragon guy. I've been trying to figure out what I'm going to do with him. For a little bit, I was thinking like a green dragon, or like a green gold, break out the metallic paints. But I think what I'm going to do instead is go galactic, like I put in the title as well. I'm thinking I'm going to break out the masking fluid, and I'm going to mask him off so that only he is accessible to my water and my paint, and I don't use masking tape and have the same problem I had with our electric dragon friend here. And then make a small galaxy nebula directly upon him, and let that be the color that makes him who he is, at least to start. I'll try to be light with the colors as much as possible, like light to medium darkness. I don't want to go so dark that he disappears. And then I will let it dry, and we can peel back the masking fluid and figure out where to go from there with the rest of it. So he'll be next. But we got to finish the first one. So for the moment, everything is fine, but there is wind going on in the area right now, so I'll be keeping an eye on that. If I disappear, it's because the power went out. Hopefully it won't go that bad. But if anything, it might blow some stuff around in the area right here because my window's open. Let me get the top-down camera on, and we can start taking a look at things there. So what are we going to do with this, right? So it's a lot of question, and it's my same problem where I get paralyzed by wanting to not mess with things further because I'm afraid I'm going to mess them up fully. So I think I'm going to go small, but just try to be careful with it, right? So I think I'm going to go with a dark color, so I'm going to make myself a well of all the same color, but try to get a good quantity of it going. I think I will do an indigo, like a dark indigo, and then thin it and make like a halo effect around his whole body to try to make his colors pop off the page a little bit more, but still be able to maintain this light background that we've already got going here around him. I was thinking of doing a color like this cadmium, cerulean hue, the sky blue color, but I thought that was going to make him look like he was going to be glowing too much. And I don't know how well that would look on the white background, so I think it needed to be a darker color, but I don't want to take away from the dark that's already on him, so I need to pick something unique. So I think that's where I'm going with him. My only problem really is going to come down in the areas where there's already a dark color going on. It might blend in. So we'll see. I may have to shift gradients to this once I get to areas that are too dark to try to make him pop a little bit more. So that is a solid option. So I might do that. Let me get this little guy going. Let me put some of this in the palette up there, and then I'll get some indigo going over here, and we should have everything we need to get this guy polished off. I'm not gonna be putting loads of pigment on this, so I'm not gonna be taping it down because it's already kind of curled a little bit. So I'm gonna try to be thicker with the pigment, but less of it, so that I don't accidentally overdo it and have it start running all over the place. So we'll go with that. And let us, I'll put this back over here. Let me consider. I think I'll leave that alone. Let me build myself up a little well of indigo here. Hopefully that's enough, because I'm, again, going to try to be using a very small amount. Yeah, it's fairly dark. I'm going to go with that. But I'm going to use a smaller brush head on that one. At least to start. Okay, so I've got myself some of the cerulean blue over there, and I've got some of my indigo over here. So anywhere where it's lighter, I'm going to use a thin amount of the indigo, and once I have a small section done, I'm going to switch to water and try to draw it outward to kind of make like a halo kind of effect. And then I'll switch back to my dark and then continue another section and back and forth until I've got some progress made. Once I get to any darker sections where I think the indigo is overdoing the color of the dragon, I'll switch to this more cerulean hue. And if it's too dark, I'll probably just go lighter in that particular area, but still try to get like a solid color down. So areas like here, and then around the legs, and around the tail area. Um, and I think that'll probably help take care of that. I kept the hair, whatnot, on the fur a lighter color, and I want to be able to show that off, but I can't up against the light background, so that's where I'm going with this. So I'm going to actually turn him upside down to start, so that we can take a look at the area I can actually touch at the head area. So I'm going to start there, and then I'm probably going to be turning and twisting and bobbing and weaving as I go, so let me get to work on that. Let me wet my brush down and hydrate the poor guy. Okay, and let's get a little bit of our indigo, and let's do something simple. Let's try to do the area around his mouth above this blue flame right here. Okay, that might be a little bit too light. It's a little lighter than I was hoping. Let's try to darken that up a little bit. A little bit better. See, what does it look like? A little bit watered down. Turn. Try to get some of the inside of that. I feel this is going to take a while. So we'll see how far we get with working on this. And then we can, if we feel we're going a little too slow and need something to pick up a little bit, we'll switch to the other. Well, that was a whole lot of no talking, but it was a lot of outlining. So, yeah, I think I'll leave that be. I feel like if I do too much more to this, like I expected, it's gonna go wrong for me in some way. So I'm gonna leave this guy alone. I'm gonna let him dry. Drink some coffee. And then turn our attention to this guy. What are we going to do here? Well, there's a good bit of prep work to do, so I'm going to scoot some stuff out of the way for the moment. I don't really need this palette. Just going to scoot it over. And look at what we're working with. So my goal, I have a selection of brushes that I usually use that I will be using masking fluid more than I normally ever use. And the goal is to mask off the exterior of this dragon. I do not think that I want to mask the entire piece of paper. I just want to get a large enough area around the dragon so I cannot overspill. Now, how accurate am I going to be with this? Who knows? But I'm going to try anyway. So, let's get this open. Oh my. We've got ourselves a little bit of a mess right here. Let's peel that out. All right. A little bit of a blockage, but we're mostly clear. Gross. Okay. I seem to have managed to remove all of it that I got on my finger. I think. Let me start with a slightly larger. I'm going to place this over here. I'm going to start with the larger bits, I think. Whoops, well, it's going to have some on it anyway. switch to a kind of a narrower chisel brush, and I'll try to get a little bit closer, and then I'll switch to some of the round brushes I've got for this set, and I'll try to get the finer detail on it. And I'll look over it very carefully for any dry spots and fill in anything extra just to make absolutely sure. Get as far to the edge as I can get without being too overzealous, because I want to keep everything within the bounds of the dragon, what I'm going to be able to paint on. So, okay, let's go a little bit further. I'm going to take my glasses off for this. Alright. Didn't mean to blast your eardrums off. I think I have everywhere. Put this to the side and let it dry along with the other nasty, gluey, or rubbery guys. You don't want to use this big brush because it's just going to get all over it. I think I have everything, but I want to do one last pass. I already have these nasty. Let me do this one. Add to this guy. Man, I gotta say, the one thing that this does not have going for it is this masking fluid smells like rotten fish. I know that's like a random analogy, but it's about as close as I can get. It truly smells like old fish. Not a great smell. I try not to inhale the fumes of it, but every now and then a little blast of it comes past my nose and it's ugh, just as gross as you would imagine. Okay. Right. Well, now I get to let this all dry. So I'm going to close up the masking fluid so it itself does not dry. Get some things out of the way that I don't need. Do not use these guys. They can go up. Drink some coffee. Get my glasses back on. Get our friend the heat gun all lined up and ready to go. Make some room to set this down when I'm done. Let's give the rubber a little blast. And I've been inspecting everywhere, make sure there's no obvious paper bits that I missed. It looks good. Yep. Okay. I'm going to grab the paper trimmer and get it out so I can get the edge of this cleared up. That is done. Let's get the trimmer out of the way. Nice little blast of air from outside. That's nice. Get over there. Good enough. Let's go ahead. In order to do this cleanly, I think I'm going to use my clipboard. And tape this guy down. Only downside being is this clipboard will pull up and pull away. So I'm not going to be able to keep it on it, at least not for very long. So I'll need to do this quick. But that's fine, because I'm not intending to make this guy very dark. I think I'll do that after the fact, on a second layer, once the first one's dry.
Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
The hell?
For me?
Oh
I'm
my.
not a witch at all.
This song has a little bit of Wizard of Oz in it. Wasn't prepared for that, but okay. Are you a good witch or a bad witch? I'm not a witch at all. So I'm gonna try not to go all the way to the edges because there's some spots that I clearly, intentionally did not cover with the rubber cement or the masking fluid. So I'm not gonna go corner to corner with this. The intention is to only hit the dragon. So next up, the colors, right? So what are we gonna choose for colors? I was originally thinking a green color because, you know, dragon, green dragon. But I want it to be kind of spacey, so I would have to do some sort of green, maybe like a green-yellow combo. That always looks really cool. And then the question is, do I want to pre-wet the dragon and then let the water spread, or do like dry, or like wet on dry for this guy? Ah, well, I'm glad I looked at it longer. I found an entire section I didn't put in the masking fluid for. It just kind of blended in, and I didn't realize I hadn't done it. So let's... Ugh, gross. Let's get this out and let's fix those areas. It stuck to it. That's fun. Next gigantic section that I missed. Okay. I think I hit the areas I missed. Get some of this rubber cement. I keep calling it rubber cement. It's similar, but not permanent like that, I think. To get the masking fluid off. Basically liquid rubber. That's why I have these dedicated to be used for this, because I knew the bristles were going to get ruined, but it's the cheapest set that I've got. I figured it was the safest bet to use for this, and I was right in believing it was going to change the bristles, because eventually the liquid rubber just gets between the bristles and surrounds them, and it just won't come off. Without persuasion, yep, I think I've sufficiently rubberized the end of this brush. And that's fine. Again, it is the cheaper one, so I'm not concerned by it. So far, they've been doing a pretty good job of just coming off everything. Okay. And now your turn. Yes. Release. Same deal with the little one. To be fair, this is the longest I used these brushes in this cement, like back to back. So I think just repeated use has put some debris, permanent debris. Yep, that's pretty well stuck on there. I will check and see if there's something that can get that stuff off of there at some point. If not, I mean, these are already designated for the rubber. Wow, I don't like how it feels when it gets stuck on my finger. That feels gross. Okay. Okay. To move on to the stuff that's gonna make the feel good juice come out. That sounded really terrible. That happy painting joy. Whatever. I'm gonna shut up now. Colors. I'm thinking yellows, greens, and then we'll just go with that and see how it goes. But otherwise, no real plan. I'm just gonna kind of do it. So let's just knock that out. I put some of that liquid from the masking fluid in that one jar, so I'm gonna leave that one alone. Okay. I should have sprayed these. I didn't. It's not a bright yellow. Throw some salt on it. All right. Well, we all know salt. You can't rush it, so I'm gonna let that sit there for a bit. Kind of got some darker colors where I want the darker colors at. We can add more later. And then when we peel this all back, we'll figure out what to do with the outer reaches part of it. All right. Not too shabby. How's our other dragon doing? Yeah, it's about the same, just got an outline around him, so a little bit easier to see him in there. A little bit. But it's dry. I think I'll leave that alone. I don't want to mess with him too much. We'll see. Maybe we'll revisit him in the future and do something else. I can see the salt starting to spread in this. That's kind of nice. Breeze is coming through the window. It's not bad. All we can do is let it wait. Let it dry. Yep, this board is starting to do like I said. It is peeling up a little bit. It's the slightest amount of buckling from the paper. It just screams. But thankfully, this paper can't buckle a whole lot because we covered most of it with the masking fluid. So Shouldn't be able to get to the edges. Right. I think I'm going to give that a couple more minutes naturally before I hit it with the heat gun to dry it off fully. We can scrape off any of the salt, double check it with a heat gun if it needs another hit, and then maybe we can hit it with one more very thin layer of color in a couple places to partly cover up some of the salt. Not all of it, just to get some texture underneath it, I think. But just to get a tiny bit more hit of color on it. We'll see. Nope. Time to hit some coffee. Gosh, I don't really have a lot to talk about today. Got these little felt egg things from work. I think they're styrofoam on the inside with some felt on the outside, meant to look like, I guess, like Easter eggs. But they kind of look like dragon eggs in a way. I mean, an egg is an egg, to be fair. So that's not too far off from what could have hatched our little fellow right here. All right. A couple of different colors. It's blue, red, well, blue, yellowish. The yellow one. Little pink boy. It's not bad. I just have them over here as like little side elements just to throw some color on the side. You can't really see it in this view, but you can in the other one. Yeah, see over there on the left. I'll leave it like this for a little bit. Still waiting on this to dry. Can't really speed up the salt. I mean, if I dry it, it just dries the way it is, and it won't keep spreading. Stay taped. Please. Right. Let's hit the heat gun. Alright. Well, that made the tape come up like crazy on this pad. I need to find a better portable solution. Ah, yeah, this is just coming up like crazy. Like crazy. I'm probably not going to be able to do a second layer on it like this because it wants to come up so much. Hey, Desert, welcome in. Checking in late, I kept getting pulled back into calls. Beautiful. Oh, thank you. No problem. Don't worry about a thing. I've just been sitting here playing around. Um, First thing I did was, I mean, not great, but I couldn't, I didn't like this being just light color on light color. So I did some bordering on this to try to make the dragon pop out a little bit more on this one. Nothing great, but you know, a little bit. And then let me switch back to the top-down view. Oops, I hit it twice, of course. And this is the one that I am fighting with. This guy is my little like green-yellow dragon. I surrounded him with masking fluid because I didn't want to have the same scenario that I did with the masking tape on this one. I wanted to make sure it covered as much as I could so that it would peel back and be just inside the bounds of the creature. And then this time at the last second, I threw some salt on it. So I'm gonna try to get the salt off without the whole thing falling off the board. And then maybe, just maybe, I can get a second layer going on it. And if not, I'm gonna leave it the way it is, because it's fighting me for a reason. And it's saying, stop messing with me. So let me get the salt off of it. The only downside, trying to get the salt off is just crazy. And now I've got to work around the masking fluid so I don't rip it off prematurely. This might work. It's probably going to pull some color up with it too, but man, this is a weird mixture of textures. I mean, physical textures, not just visual. Okay, uh, it's not beautiful, but it's a thing. Yeah, I think we got to get the cement off of it. So fate has drawn that card for me. We're gonna pull off the tape. We're gonna get the rubber cement off. We're gonna get off any remaining salt. figure out what kind of textures we got on this guy, and if we paint anything else on him, we'll paint it on directly. But we may just leave him alone. Because in being more just one layer paint, he also ends up being a little bit more transparent. So, yeah. That made a line right there, but maybe we can draw it up. Whoa. Not tip the water over. Well, that might be on top of the the rubber, so it might come off. Okay. Oy. Let's pull this to the side. Don't need this guy anymore. Let's find our eraser. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I think it's time to do the long process of pulling up all of this. So let's see how much of this we can get off of here. We do the side that doesn't have blue on it from the last one. And that snaps back hard on there. Okay. Okay. One section came away mostly all right. Go back to over here. Oh, yeah. It's coming off mostly clean. Some bits need some love, but we'll get most of this extra bit off of here. Fair, I think my finger gets this off better than the eraser does. Desert, have you done a full, like nearly full coverage masking fluid thing like masking like this? This is it was a lot of masking fluid, let me tell you. I mean, not physically, but like just visibly in coverage, it was just a lot of product. I was worried it was going to be too much, but I honestly could have gone on a little bit of a thicker layer to make sure it peeled off a little easier, I think, but it seems to be doing okay. Yeah, weirdly, my finger is doing better than the eraser. The eraser just breaks it into bits, so I'm just gonna stick with using the finger to peel it back. Firing. Some of that leaks through, it looks like. Must not have had full coverage in some of those spots. I really could have used a second layer to make sure I hit all those. It's possible that had happened from me going back, actually. Might have pulled some of it up when it was dry. Still, though, I think I did a fairly good job of getting most of this masked. There's going to be some spots, I think, that looks like I clearly missed, but if anything, I can go over it with water and see if I can thin it out a little bit or something. That was more tiring than I thought it was going to be. Just peeling back this masking fluid, and it's a workout on my arm. Check that. Looks like a bit of it might be actually the paper coming up from rubbing on it too much. So I'm gonna try to be gentle in that area. Here we go. 99.9% done. I'm sure there's some little bits left. I have to say, though, it did a pretty good job at covering nearly all of it, keeping most of it protected. We'll have to clean all that up later. Can you just come off? Most of it. Yeah, I can still feel some bits up here. Alright. Well, if you ignore all the debris that's underneath this, it came out pretty well, I think. Of course, with the salt, it made it look like he's covered in like warts or like pus sacs or something gross. So definitely, maybe, sort of, kind of, might want to do another pass over him later on. But yeah, he came out kind of cute, I think. Oh, did I get the eye? I did accidentally, but I put a little bit over his eye in case I wanted to color it yellow or something. So maybe I'll do that later, or maybe I'll keep his eye white. I don't know. Or maybe it'll be bright red. Who knows? I'll figure out something. But fun. Alright. Well, believe it or not, I'm tired. So I think I am going to call it quits here. Kind of low energy today, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes I can be woohoo, and sometimes I'm just gonna be dead. The music didn't help. I realized this music is kind of dead-ass slow, so I need to pick something a little more upbeat. And yeah, I think that's it. I think no more dragons for a bit, because I've done dragons for like 3 streams in a row now, so I'm going to take a break from that. So I will probably come back to this guy later on. Won't be a next stream. I'll figure out something else to do. But I will try to figure out what else to do with this, aside from I need to figure out a fairy over on the side. It was a Goddess Whisperer's request, so I will try to figure out some kind of fairy over here. I will try to, in the same vein as the dragon, sketch it in and then paint it. But I'll probably keep it small and simple and cute. Very like pixie sized. We'll see. Just show like a disparate like size between the pixie standing up against a dragon, and maybe the dragon's recoiling like, whoa, you're more feisty than I thought you would be. You know, something cute like that. But yep, I think that's it. This guy, we'll add more to him later. I accidentally grabbed my scratch piece too. And then this guy, he came out alright as well. I may figure out something else to do with him later too to make the whole thing a little more cohesive. Maybe I'll do something else with the background area that's not dragon. I don't know yet. We'll see. I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll do soap bubbles on that and do some brighter color on it and just let that go hog wild. I don't know. That sounds interesting. We'll see. But yep, okay, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and call it quits for tonight and then clean everything up. I will be back on Thursday as normal, doing I don't know what. But my guess is probably something abstract, because that's both easy and I can get some stuff done. So we'll see. All right, Desert, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I know it wasn't very long, but still, I appreciate you being here. You have an absolutely wonderful day, and I am going to head on out. I'll see you later. Bye.